No, you silly sack of shit. That title's not clickbait. You know I would never do something like that. Get over yourself. If I had known this at 20, I'd probably be a billionaire by now. Heck, if I had known it at 30, I'd probably be a billionaire by now. But I already knew this most of my life. I got out of the military, broke as fuck, and then proceeded to make hundreds of millions of dollars much longer than it should have actually taken me. And in turn, I fucked up my life over and over and over again, and constantly cock-blocked myself from getting to where I want to be, and lowered my overall, which is the real point of this video, lowered my overall life happiness umpteenth degrees, chasing this stupid mistake that every single 20-year-old, every single 30-year-old I see making. In fact, almost all entrepreneurs I see are falling into this because it's subtle as fuck, and then it just drains the years of your life away. And then you look back, and most people don't realize it, but I do, and I get to look back and want to punch myself in the nuts. So this video is to give you a slight tap of your sack to maybe wake you the fuck up so it doesn't happen to you too. Let me explain it to you. Because what happens to people is they do go and start a business. Well, most people don't get to this point right here where they have money and they can start a business and they can actually start making this mistake. I'll cover this here in a second. But once people do make money, they make this mistake and there's this next level of life that they want to get to, and they absolutely never ever get there. And then there's like the really big parts of life, making the hundreds of millions of dollars, but more so making lots of money doing what you like all day long and enjoying the shit out of it and still getting paid lots of money to do it. That's what we're here to talk about. I'm not here to talk to you about how to go and make a janitorial business where you're making $100 million a year, fisting other people's toilets and whatnot. We're not here to do that. I want you to be able to do something that you truly enjoy, and that's really the key to making the big bucks. Don't worry, it will make sense. But when people want to get to this next level in life right here, they absolutely cannot. And what they end up doing is they get stuck at this little point right here, the point where you first make your first money, and then they could bobble around for the rest of their life, and then they're 50, and they're just like, fuck. Because they spent all this time doing a lot of things that are non-congruent with who they are, where their talents are going to be, and what they want to be doing when they're 50. Because you're going to be 50 someday. I'm like 38 now, about to turn 40. Aging. It's fun. You're going to love it. But the point is, when we get to these higher ages right here, we need to already be set up and we need to already have this resource that most people don't have. And this resource right here is almost impossible to get unless you start working on it right here. And it's the most valuable fucking thing on planet Earth. Let me explain it to you. And for those of you who couldn't see my drawing because I was blocking it out right here, I haven't made YouTube videos in a while. And this ties into why. If you're wondering why I haven't made YouTube videos, this will explain it here in a second, but as you can also tell, I'm a little bit rusty. So this video is probably going to be at least another higher grade of dog shit. If you're used to the low quality content before, you're in for a treat. This is going to be the toilet water of YouTube business content. Don't you worry, just slurp it down. It's going to be good. But look, there's three phases to this. There's this phase right here where you need to get to your initial money. There's this phase right here of what you do once you have that money. And then there's this point right here is where you really take off. And if you understand how this connects to this, you're going to get to this point right here and then immediately get to number 3 where you can making the big bucks, but more so peak happiness in business. This is what this is all really about. Because I'm going to tell you, the more money you make, don't get me wrong, vacationing on yachts and shit, it's a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, you're going to be waking up in your office every single day, doing the same thing every single day. And that's what your life is going to be 95% of, as well as maybe hanging out with your wife, your kids. Hopefully you like those people. Hopefully those are, you don't mind that part. If you hate your wife and you hate your kids, well, fuck. You made some mistakes. I'm not here to fix that. But the vast majority of your life is going to be spent doing your daily routine, which is probably going to be the thing you work on and strive at your entire life. So it's really important that you get a lot of happiness from that, because money is not going to buy you that. And the little distractions it can add to your life, it's not going to help that 90% of the life that you haven't constructed correctly. So let's talk about these phases right here very quickly. So phase number 1. So look, if you're one of the people in the channel, you haven't made a little bit of money yet, you haven't started your first business, don't worry, this part's for you. But truly, this part is for everybody, because most entrepreneurs, as soon as they make some money, they stop doing the thing that made them all the money in the first place, and then they get stuck in this cosmic backrooms-like void of entrepreneurship. Have you seen that movie, The Backrooms, where they're just locked in this banana hallway endlessly, just walking around, not sure what the they're doing, not going anywhere, not making any progress? This is what happens to most entrepreneurs, so you should listen up. So when you start trying to make money, you start trying to build businesses for the sake of improving your life, it's going to come down to 3 phases. And these 3 phases are very different. And you need to recognize these phases, because you're going to get stuck in one phase forever if you don't. And then it's going to be very bad for you. So the first phase, you just need to make some fucking money. So for example, when I was in the military, I was making like $20,000 per year. I was not having a good time. I'll just leave it at that. I needed to go and make money. And so what I did is I did everything I possibly could, reckless abandonment. I left the military with $6,000 my name, and I just said, I'm going to make money. And I got super cheap rent, living, everything, minimized everything down to zero as close as I possibly can, and just worked on trying to start a business. I'm an idiot. And so it took me a while. It took me like a year and a half. But after about a year and a half, I started getting to the point where I could make $60,000, $70,000 a year. I got to the point after that, I make $200,000, $500,000, $1 million eventually per year. Now, there isn't much more to say in this point of your career other than you just have to find some fucking way to make money. It doesn't matter if you enjoy it. It doesn't matter if you like it. And usually if you're in your 20s or your early 30s, or you're just making money for the first time, it's going to be exciting enough just making money to get you through that. You need to use that. It's kind of like taking an Adderall before you go out drinking. Maybe you're a little bit sleepy. That Adderall is going to get you through the hump, which I've never done before. I would never encourage drug use and drinking on this channel. That's totally not me. But if you were to do such a thing, that initial Adderall gets you through that initial hump of the night where things are kind of boring. But by the time it wears off, you better be doing something interesting enough to carry you through the rest of the night. And what a lot of people do is they get going, they get excited about making money, but then the money stops being exciting and then they go downhill. And I'll explain it here in a second. But long story short, when you're young, it doesn't matter. Just throw everything out the window, focus everything you can on learning how to make money and getting better at it. Work at it 8 hours a day. I don't care if you have a job. Just go home, work at it all day. It doesn't matter. I think you get the point of what I'm saying. Every other YouTube channel out there says it. It's the most important thing in your life, getting control of money. So just do it for years and years until it works. You'll get better at it. It's just like playing guitar. You're going to sound terrible at first. Eventually you'll be able to play a song. Now, here's where it starts to get a little bit more complicated and what you need to start doing that has such potential to mess up your life. So let's take all these ugly drawings away. So the point I just described right here that people get to, this is where they really muck up their life. Because what they're going to do is they're going to do one of two things. They're going to try to keep doing the thing they did do to originally get money. And then they're also going to pick what they're going to pursue in life based around money or what they want right now. This sounds like some pie in the sky stuff, but it's truly not. So what you need to get right now is that the way you first make money, and this is what really messed me up. I started in this and I started making money through SEO. And then for the next 5-6 years, I tried to keep making money with SEO and making SEO software and stuff like that. And I did a little bit better. I doubled my income. But in the end, I really just plateaued the hell out of it. And what I try to do here that was so wrong that you need to be super aware of in phase 2 is you need to understand that what you just did to get money is probably really stupid and not capable of getting you to these big points right here. And what you then do is you stop taking risk and you start doing that thing that really is kind of stupid and probably isn't your life passion. And then suddenly the years of your life are going to start drifting away pretty quickly as you try to make this limp dick noodle of a business that you built, this one niche you got into, which was really good for beginners, but probably not big for scaling. And you're just going to get stuck in it for 5 years. And then you're also going to spend 5 years of your life. And here's where it really gets nasty. You're going to spend 5-6 years of your life not learning anything new and not becoming better at your craft. You took this initial moment right here and you were like Goku in the Super Saiyan Chamber. Goku in the Super Saiyan Chamber. I know you guys are nerds. None of you guys are getting laid. You watch the animes. I know. Look, you were just ramping up, improving left and right. And then you stop improving right here. This is really bad. And then what happens is you also stop caring about the money. Don't get me wrong, you're going to care about the money, but it's not going to be super duper exciting. And you're not going to be seeing these big gains left and right. They're going to give you the dopamine impulses to keep you going. So this right here is just a recipe for really fucking up your life. So the final thing you also need to ask yourself at this point in time is, look, you have all this money right here. You have enough money coming in, you're stabilized. What you need to start doing is you need to start, one, looking at risk. And big risks you can take, big swings you can take, but more so, you need to ask yourself, what do I want to be doing and working on every single day when I'm 45? So this is what most entrepreneurs right now do. You see all these kids, the best examples, all the kids getting in the influencing and making YouTube videos and whatnot. Recipe for ruining your life, in my opinion. I make these videos because I enjoy them, but most people are making them as their main business model. This is how they plan to grow their career. I cannot think of a bigger hell, a more stupid fucking thing you can do, except for very small circumstances. Here is why. This doesn't just apply to influencer businesses, but you can apply it to a lot of different businesses. You can apply it to my SEO business right here. I didn't give a shit about SEO. I don't want to be doing SEO. Thank God I'm not doing SEO anymore as I close on 40. Hell no. Okay. Thank God, as I got further on my years and I started getting big on YouTube, thank God I made businesses outside YouTube, because I can't think of a greater hell than having to pop on this camera and act enthusiastic every single fucking time I turn it on. You don't want to be doing that at 40. It's like being a stripper past their age in a strip club with a bunch of 20-year-olds who have endless energy and a much better ass than you, and you're still having to shake your ass. No, you want to be the madame who owns the strip club at that point. If you're still shaking your ass on YouTube for money at 40, and you have to be doing it, you're going to be in a tough spot. And so what you need to do is you need to ask yourself, what do I want to be doing at 45? And then you need to take a big risk and do something different that you think can be big, that you also want to be doing at 45. Because the most valuable resource on earth is skill over time. Ability over time. And so when you take risk and you put yourself on a pressure point like I'm talking about right here, remember when you were first starting your business, or if you're getting into it, you're probably improving left and right. You need to throw yourself back into another oven, another chamber of pressure, so that you're constantly evolving again. The only way we can do this by taking risk. I see so many people that are in businesses and they just keep trying to make that same blimp dick business work over and over again. You not only need to put more pressure on yourself, you need to do something completely damn new that is going to interest you enough that outside the money, you're going to have enough motivation to keep wanting to do it. Most people don't have that. And so not only do they get stuck in Olympic business, they aren't even good at it anymore because they're not growing in skills and they don't have the motivation to really go and hit the court every single day. It's just not going to work. You compound it over 20 years, the end result is you wasting 20 years of your life. And so what I did a lot of the time is I wasted 5 years here doing SEO and whatnot. And then I started selling info procs and stuff like that, and I made a bit more money, and it was more relevant to the SEO. But I really wasn't super into selling info procs, and I really wasn't in the influencing or whatnot. And I kept doing all these things that were very comfortable to me, and not asking myself, what the do I want to be doing at 40? Now, my life right now looks a lot like I want it to be. I wake up every single morning. I don't have to make a YouTube video, and I just work with my staff and build software. That's it. I don't do anything else. I just get into Slack and we build software and we work on that. That's all I do every day. And I make more money than I ever have right now just doing that. If I had started all the way back here doing that over the span of 20 years, I would have built such bigger companies. I would have grown so much faster. And if I'd taken those risks that I've taken with my software company then and asked myself, what do I want to be doing at 40? Am I going to be influencing, making video? Am I going to be doing SEO? Am I going to be working with these clients? Do I want to do this for the next 20 years of my life? The answer to those would have been no, and I could have stopped right then, and I could have done what I originally did, which is keep finances extremely low and just start working on your forever business as soon as you possibly can. Because if you look at the richest people on earth, most of them have been working on the business for over 10, 15 years. If you look at the guy that owns Roblox, he started when he was 40. He's 60 now. It took him about 20 years to get to the point where Roblox is this unstoppable thing. It takes 10, 15, 20 years to really build something earth-shattering. And you don't have that many years in your life. You have about 2 20-year blocks in your life, from 20 to 40 and 40 to 60. Then no, you're not doing something 60 to 80. So you need to make sure to spend them extremely wisely and take it very fucking seriously. To bring it back to it, I see so many kids, 20, 25, 30, focusing on their YouTube channels and their podcast. You are not going to be doing that at 40. The world, and trust me, what you're doing is not unique or original. The world does not need another talking head. The world does not need another Shopify drop shipping store. The world doesn't need another one of these copy and paste business models. And that's not going to get you through the day. When you're 40, you're going to be wanting to work on something you truly love and not doing these things you have to do. So start working on it early. Now, the final phase of all this, phase 3, is really simple. Just do that thing and stop doing everything else. Seriously. I don't resent doing SEO. I don't resent doing infoprocs. I don't resent doing crypto or whatnot. I've made money in all those things. But truly, all my money just comes down from my software companies and the ownership values of those. I didn't have to do any of those things. And the only thing they really did was just distract me from working on software companies and working on my business. If you can just reduce your entire life to a daily routine where you do the same thing over and over again every single day on something you really enjoy doing, you're going to become excellent. Fucking excellent at it, and it's going to make you better at it than everybody else, and your proc is going to be better than everybody else's because most people are not obeying these rules that I'm talking about. Thus, you will make tons of money doing what you love every single day. It's as simple as that. So if I can go and give you any advice on how I fucked up my life, is I ignored these rules and constantly tried to mix and match. I tried to do a bunch of things that I didn't want to do for the rest of my life. I can fucking sling an info product. Trust me. I used to write the great the crispiest webinars. I could do it. And man, I can tell you all about SEO. I can talk about how the links work and all that kind of shit. And man, I can tell you fuck tons of stuff about crypto. But I don't really plan to do those things for the rest of my life. Don't get me wrong, I still invest in crypto. Okay, it's not like I'm done investing in that space forever. But all the time I put into building an influencer site in crypto, all the time I put in the SEO, all the time I put in info marketing, I'm not getting that time back. And if I just dump that time all into my software, if my software were twice as big as they were right now, I'd be worth $500 million if they were just twice as big. Imagine if they've done even further than that and I'd done things faster earlier on. That's the big mistake, and that's how you end up fucking up your life. And you end up spending a decade, wasting a decade of your life that then sets you up to be trapped in a type of life that you really don't enjoy later on in life. And I see so many young people making this mistake. I see so many 30-year-olds making this mistake. And you shouldn't make the mistake. That's all there is to it. I'll see you later.